One of the reasons I don't do this walking about videos on beautiful landscapes as I did in the past, it's not because of the lack of landscapes. The true motive is the abundance of wind that hits the microphone, even if you have a good one, a good windshield. And so it makes you be very disciplined, which I lack, I must confess, in timing your videos to the perfect timing or where you don't have any wind and you can do these videos, beautiful videos about not so beautiful themes. Today the wind is blowing on my microphone and therefore the next segment will be shot inside of the car. My apologies. As it turns out, inside of the car, because it's too hot and I don't use air conditioner, I have to have the windows open. It's too noisy, so I have to continue this somewhere else. My apologies. Oh, sorry. So let's get to it. The whole point of making this video was to talk about the case of Pavel Durov, which has, as you all know by now, people who follow geopolitics, people who search for news beyond what mainstream media shows, you know for sure the platform Telegram, in which has been the source, and I dare to say the main source of the news about the main events in the world, the main events that have repercussion throughout the world and in our lives, such as the war in Ukraine. And for the surprise of Benny, and I'm smiling because I can't help to find it a little bit, at least ironic, that all the boasting about protecting freedom and having to sanction Russia because Russia is the stem of all evil, of all places, Mr. Pavel Durov was arrested in France, not in Russia. And I should say that Mr. Pavel Durov, he had been in Russia. He was the founder of VKontakte, a famous Russia social platform, where this channel has an account. It's like the sort of the Russian Facebook. And it had these disagreements. Mr. Pavel Durov had these disagreements with the Russian government in the past. But then it turned out to be nothing. He ended up leaving Russia on his own free will. He has several citizenships, several passports. One of them is the United Arab Emirates. And Mr. Pavel Durov gives an interesting account, which I think is... I remember watching this interview months ago, before this happening, and today it's a valuable piece of information that helps us today to understand what is going on and why is Mr. Pavel Durov being arrested. It's not hard to figure the reasons, but it's always important to document them. And so I would like to show you just a little bit of this interview of Mr. Tucker Carlson to Pavel Durov, where he expressed his concerns, expressed his objective, his life objective of having this platform, which is the only social network completely free of pressure from governments or agendas. And he also reported some episodes that happened with him, pressure that he's been feeling now for some years, which I think you will find quite interesting.
But there's this second part, which was probably more alarming. there in the US. We got too much attention from the FBI, the security agencies, wherever we came to the US. So to give you an example, last time I was in the US, I brought an engineer that is working for Telegram, and there was an attempt to secretly hire my engineer behind my back by cybersecurity officers or agents, wherever they are called.
The US government tried to hire your engineer?
That's my understanding. That's what he told me.
To write code for them or to break into Telegram?
They were curious to learn which open source libraries are integrated to the Telegram's app, on the client side, and they were trying to persuade him to use certain open source tools that he would then integrate into the Telegram's code that, in my understanding, would serve as backdoors.
Would allow the US government to spy on people who use Telegram?
The US government, or maybe any other government, because a backdoor is a backdoor regardless of who is using it.
That's right.
So this interview was 4 months ago, and one can almost clearly see through here without just using pure logic that once more all the claims in the Western world where are protecting freedoms, and whatever we do that violates your freedom, it's because it's for your safety. And that's exactly what the allegations against Mr. Durov are right now in France. They are accusing him of being cooperative, of being an accomplice to criminal networks, from child abuse to drug trafficking, you name it. And it's kind of funny because that will be the narrative that they will press to the public on to see that you see, we are in favor of free speech. We have no problem with free speech, but we must have rules. We must not let the crime go rampant in this place, to have safe havens for criminals. This will be, and this is, it's a palatable idea. But the thing is that through the use of this kind of excuses, your freedoms have been weakened, have been taken away. We all remember when when the US were finding terrorists everywhere and waging wars and making all kinds of operations based on people's safety because of terrorism. And for example, according to drug trafficking, I must remind you that just WikiLeaks alone, I'll show you this. Let me see. Okay, WikiLeaks alone has a collection of documented operations from the CIA to launder money, to drug trafficking, to spy on computers, on people's computers. To, for example, this one released in 2017, Operation Dark Matter, which contains documents for several CIA projects that infect Apple Mac computers firmware. Or, for example, this one also from 2017. It was a WikiLeaks release, 27 documents from the CIA's Grasshopper framework, a platform used to build customized malware payloads for Microsoft Windows operating systems. The most common operating system, see, malware payloads. I wonder what they were about doing this. What was this about, right? And many others. You have a long list. And these are genuine documents published by WikiLeaks. And once you take a look at these, or you are aware of these, you are free to search them on the web for yourself. It becomes clear that This is not about freedom or criminal networks. This is nothing like that. This is about the control of the narrative. This is about controlling what you see and what you hear once more, because let us be frank, Facebook is not safe, WhatsApp is not safe, Twitter is not safe. It's all under surveillance. And one might ask, okay, but my life is not that interesting. I don't really have anything to hide. And if one doesn't really have anything to hide, it has nothing to worry about, right? Wrong. Not only the information is used to profile you, and this is well known, used for commercial purposes, but the collection of your information can serve all kinds of purpose. For example, it can be harmless if your life is a harmless one for the system, but if you are, for example, a politician that becomes famous, that reaches positions of power, and by that you want to do, for example, something good for the community that might hurt the powers, the de facto powers, being financial powers, banking, or political powers installed, then you'll become a target. And that's how these things work. Then your information will be analyzed, and anything that can be used against you, even taken out of context, it will be. So yeah, imagine that. So it's kind of a database for the occasional blackmail on demand, I should say. And so this is for me, this is the main reason Pavel Durov is being arrested. This is a kind of intimidation. I think he's a tough guy. I think he's rejected every time the Russian government, for example, has asked him to reveal information about users on the platform. And I should say that some of these cases were actually good cases, because we're talking about instigators of color revolutions inside of Russia. And still he refused, but he was not arrested. He was not. After a while, he ended up leaving Russia, selling his first founded company, VK, moving on to other countries, and I don't think he ever expected that. So, and you can see by his testimony to Tucker Carlson, where every time he went in the US, he was getting the attention, and they were always trying to hack into his Telegram by any means, being by hiring an engineer. And I guess they tried all the means possible, and he never folded, right? So this time, the French government, being the good vassal that it is for the US government, did the deed and arrested the guy, and it's now intimidating him. So we'll see how it follows from here. But they also put on the wanted list his brother, which is the expert encryption guy from Telegram, and we'll see, for example, if he's released, if all ends up in nothing. You have a good possibility, a strong possibility, that he might have folded and he might have given something, which for now I doubt. Well, let's see how it goes. And when we're talking about what's going on Telegram, don't forget that, for example, Ukrainians benefit within the context of the war. They benefit a lot from Telegram. It's the only way. It's not just Ukrainians. Russia's also using it strongly, heavily, with great success. So I guess they're benefiting more from the truth than the West is benefiting from the truth, because Ukrainians are fine with it because they can put all sorts of things there. But it's not controlled by the West. It's not controlled like YouTube is controlled. It's not controlled like any other platforms that I mentioned are controlled. and we know what's been going on these platforms. We have one other platform that might be at risk, and we never know what's going to happen, which is Rumble. I think the dimension of Rumble is not big enough, but Telegram is really reached a huge audience throughout the world. And if you look at this application, it's a very simple one, a very simple looking one, according to its design and graphics and everything else. Is very simple, but it's very, I should say, it has a Russian touch. It's like simple and effective, right? You kind of remind of these machines that the Russians build, that they build one chassis for every kind of machines, and they put all different kind of variations, but then you have all interchangeable parts, and it can be usable easily without big hassle. Have a lot of mechanics, a lot of people who can use it easily, and Telegram kind of resembles that simple side of the Russian doing things. Simple for practical. It's the main objective is to be the most practicable possible. But if you see Telegram, it's not only the source of truth for the common person. It has been highly exploited by mainstream media. All of them now, if they want to compete in the world of news, they have to go and drink from Telegram source, because there you have the real information. For example, if you're talking about the war, you have the reality of the war on Telegram in first person, and many other things. Of course, you also have dodgy pages, sketchy pages, I believe, but it's not true that Telegram is like anything goes on Telegram. This is not true. And the other thing is that you're not gonna, if you're gonna blame the creator of a platform for the way that, for the purpose that some users are giving to it, I mean, you have a lot to answer in other useful things that people use for bad purposes, right? And yeah, I think this reflection is very important. But I think to myself also that people that follow this subject know the true face of reality is that the West is simply trying to suppress the platform that it cannot control. A platform that is keeping the Western secret services in the dark in many cases. And that's all that it is to it. Once again, it has nothing to do with freedom. It has nothing to do with your freedom, with democracy, or whatever this song keeps being repeated on. It's imperialistic motives. That's all. Okay, I hope I see you on the next one. And if you like this video, of course, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. Interact with it. So, because I've been having a hard time to getting my videos shown to the public. Sometimes I used to have videos that went for tens of thousands of views, or at least thousands of views, and then it started going down. And I suspect that whenever you criticize the West and this is my suspicion, or my videos just suck. I mean, that's also a possibility. But if that's not if that possibility is not the one here, I noticed that, for example, if you look at the videos that people film from Russia, portraying a good place and showing the positive sides of Russia, they have far less views than the videos, for example, of Russians saying bad things about Russia. So yeah, help me out with that. I'll much appreciate, and like I said before, I hope I see you on the next one.